Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back. So Silent Hill 2 just got another update. First up, there is a fix for Razer Chroma RGB lighting, which is a nice quality of life fix for anyone using supported gear and running into lighting issues before. Then there is a fix for some lying figure animations so they do not clip through windows the way they were doing before. That one is actually a pretty noticeable kind of fix because anything involving enemy animation cleanup can make a big difference in how polished the game feels moment to moment. When an enemy is doing something that looks off, even if it is not breaking progression, it still stands out immediately. They also fixed a potential crash tied to missing DirectX libraries, which is the kind of thing that sounds small until it happens to you, and then it is a huge problem. If the game was failing to launch or throwing a crash for some players because of that issue, this should help a lot. There are also additional fixes for the rotating cube in the Labyrinth, so yeah, even the weird puzzle and environment stuff got touched up here. And then on top of that, there are some minor AI fixes too, which usually means the developers have gone back and adjusted behavior in a few spots that were probably acting a little strange or inconsistent. So overall, this patch feels like the team is smoothing out a mix of technical problems and gameplay presentation issues. Nothing here screams new content, nothing here points to a major overhaul, and that makes sense. This looks more like the kind of update you put out when you want to stabilize the experience and just clean up the stuff players are still noticing after the bigger fixes have already gone in. Now, it is worth talking about the previous patch too, because that one was definitely more substantial in terms of the amount of ground it covered. That update focused on a much wider set of fixes across both PS5 and PC, and it was the sort of patch that showed Bloober Team was still actively grinding through a long list of issues. On PlayStation, it addressed achievement counting problems and graphical glitches on PS5 Pro. On the gameplay side, it fixed door markers in Brookhaven Hospital, improved enemy clipping behavior, cleaned up audio issues in Toluca Prison, and tackled a Labyrinth soft block that could lock players out of progress after grabbing the map. That older patch also handled a bunch of other things that players had been running into, like map markers in different areas, Maria navigation problems, lines triggering too many times, boss movement and disappearing issues, mannequins getting stuck in their ambush state, collectible interactions, and even some animation improvements. It went after the kind of stuff that can quietly wear down the experience if you keep bumping into it over and over again. On the PC side, there were controller vibration fixes, mouse sensitivity improvements, mouse input fixes, and general controller issues cleaned up as well. So that last update was a much broader pass, while this newer one feels more targeted. That contrast actually tells you a lot about where the game is at right now. The bigger, heavier bugs and gameplay blockers are getting addressed first, and then afterward, the team seems to be circling back to the smaller but still important things. Lighting issues, animation clipping, crash prevention, puzzle behavior, AI tuning, that sort of stuff. It is not the kind of patch that gets a giant trailer or a flashy announcement, but it is still the kind of update that matters if you are actually playing through the game and want it to feel a little more locked in. And I think that is the main takeaway here. This is not a dramatic reinvention of anything. It is just a practical maintenance update that makes the experience a bit cleaner. If you have been holding off because you wanted to see whether the game keeps getting support, this is another sign that the team is still patching away at it. Silent Hill 2 remains one of those games where the atmosphere does a lot of the heavy lifting. So when the technical side is more stable, the whole experience lands better. When the animation looks cleaner, the crash issues are gone, and the weird little edge cases are ironed out, the game is simply easier to get lost in. So yeah, that is the update. A few meaningful fixes, a few polish passes, and another reminder that this game is still being actively worked on behind the scenes.